Good afternoon, everybody, and very warm welcome to Landvetter, Gothenburg. We've got the freeware Gothenburg scenery installed here today. The links are all in the description down below as well throughout everything covered in the stream today. The livery, the new Osprey Airways 737-800, the Gothenburg scenery, Skiathos Orbex, all that sort of stuff is all in the links down below. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome on board. Please hit subscribe. Don't forget, guys, throughout today, give us a little like as well. And we're flying the inaugural service of the Osprey Airways 737-800 today to Skiathos. And if you remember the last time we operated to Skiathos, it was in the 700 variant. And I think you guys will remember what we said then, which was something along the lines of, good grief, this approach feels very quick. And this is going to add about 15 knots to the speed on approach as well, so who knows, it's going to be interesting for sure. We're using GSX and the custom profile for this airport for today. So we're in the process of boarding, loading, all that sort of thing as well. Hello to David, Badger, Doctor on board, David Bartley, hello as well, was David L. Matthew F, Shuts, MPS Gaming, Mikael, Faris, Neil, hello folks, hope you're all well. Plenty of members in the live stream again. Mikael, yeah, flat 40, might be the first time doing flat 40 in a very long time indeed. Neil's having a go today as well, first time flying an NDAB approach for Neil, so we're going to try and help him during the cruise to get it all worked out and working quite nicely for him. And he's flying it in the 737-600. So he's got a bit more speed and time. Now the Osprey livery comes in two variants for the 737-800. You've got the wonderful version with the split scimitar wings here, and there's also the blended wing version, both in the same file on flightsim.to, so you can choose one or the other, or both. I've got both, of course. Dan, good afternoon. Skyworker, hello folks. So, let's dive into the flight deck. Master caution for doors, because they're open. So let's go ahead and clear that. You can see now for our departure, if we go to our speeds and weights and things, our zero fuel weight today is 58.4 tonnes. Gross weight at the moment, 69.3 tonnes. And a cruise of flight level 350 is expected. Let's get the APU on. Cost index of 23. And a cruise average winds of 292 degrees at 35 knots there as well. Our performance calculation says that we want a 26k takeoff today, but we've gone for takeoff 1 instead of full power. And we're going to do a climb 1 profile as well. And our speeds for the departure, flap 5, trim of 6%, and also V1 at 142 knots, rotate 143, and V2 150, which gives us a plus 10 of 160 knots. 5,000 feet for the tops of the standard instrument departure, flying runway heading of 202 degrees as well, and our QNH at the moment is 1020. For the departure out of Gothenburg, we're going to depart runway 21, and we're also going to be departing on the Toppler 3 Juliet departure, which looks a little bit like this. So, stand 13, we're going to push start facing north. We're then going to follow the taxi charts here at Gothenburg, taxiing before takeoff runway 21 from parking, which is this chart here. So, out of 13, we're going to head up to this first little intersection and follow the arrows out onto Zulu, and then down Zulu to hold at Yankee, like so. Nice and easy. Then departing on runway 21, initially flying 202 degrees up to at or above 900 feet, and at that point we're then going to turn south about 180 degrees or 185 degrees to Golf 706, and then outbound 168 degrees track on the Toppler 3 Juliet departure to Toppler. Initial climb clearance is 5,000, which is why we've got that set in the MCP unless otherwise specified, but we are on Unicom so we might climb a little bit further than that as well. And a departure airport elevation of 507 feet. Our routing today is going to take us south, across Sweden, near to Copenhagen on the right-hand side as we fly down past Kristiansand as well, and then over Germany. In fact, over Poland, I think. But to make it a bit easier to see, let's go to Valanta, which is here. So heading down almost this coastline here, it's potentially going to be really stunning with this clear skies today. Then we're going to head over, it is Poland, wonderful. Over Polish airspace, Wroclaw, into Slovakian airspace, overhead Budapest in Hungary, routing down overhead Belgrade in Serbia, and then overhead Thessaloniki. It's a common overhead join section bit of this particular arrival. And then Lekpo, Amsiv, Agisa, Bamos and to Skopilos, and that's going to lead us into the wonderful Skiathos airport. So we've got Orbeck Skiathos for this. There we are. About 3 hours airtime. Can't wait. Great route. Always fantastic flying into Skiathos. David says, my PC's completely lost the plot today. Can't load a flight at all. That's not good. Skyworker says using the VMR for AIG, but Osprey liveries are not showing up. That's because they're not part of AIG. You need to go to the website, britishavgeek.com/liveries, and then scroll right to the bottom and you'll find the Osprey VMR, and that is what allows you to do all of this, sort of connect the Osprey liveries into the sim on VATSIM. UC, hello to you as well. And Anthony, good evening to you. What's your verdict on X-Plane 12? Are you planning for a first look? No, not too interested in it, to be honest. It doesn't look like it's anything that's worth kind of investigating. It certainly doesn't look like there's much difference at all from within X-Plane 11. Boarding complete. I'll close the door then, shall I? And I think these guys have gone as well. They have. Ooh, we need to go to 1228. Make sure we're on the Unicom frequency. And we're going to close the cargo doors as well. Jolly good. Let's go to our overhead panel and make sure the APU gens are on instead of the ground power. And then having done that, what we can do is go to ground services. I've got the parking brake on actually, so what I'm going to do is now remove the wheel chocks. It will just disconnect ground power and everything else.
Osprey 45 long push, making space for the aircraft at stand 13.
Kruberax, hello to you, live from Gothenburg. Very nice. Tapsy, hello, welcome. Thank you very much. Great work as always. In the cruise, by the way, folks, we will have a look at the cabin. There's a couple of things in there that we've got bespoke to this aircraft that Tapsy's been working on. $500, 3,000, 35,000, APU's on bleed. That's all good and running. Ground power's cleared enough. And QNH 1020 is set. Altimeter set, transponders on 2000, fuel and loading boarding is complete, takeoff data is set with a B2 plus 10 of 160 in the MCP. And the MCP is set as well, flight directors are both on. Radios are set, we've got nav1 which is Landvetter's VOR, so we're going to track that a little bit on the way out as well. And then we'll just switch that off. And then we're pretty much ready to go, to be honest, I think. We'll use GSX for pushback today because we've not done that for a little while. Dan, no, I actually spawned in yesterday, just before the stream, and I actually kicked in with live weather to begin with, and just as it was starting to load the live weather, it crashed the desktop. So no, I'm back on Rex live weather today, intentionally, unfortunately. Are we clear? Around and behind? Let's see if it's toggleable in here. One of these options. Let's see. Operate jetways. Off it goes. Ta-ra. Custom jetway, but it's not the best. It's not the most amazing. Smooth flying. Welcome. Barris saying thank you Tapsy for your efforts painting. Okay, right. I think we need to wait for him. But actually he could go left on hotel. So let's prepare for pushback and departure. Yeah, BKG Blueface, Windows is always up to date. Interesting. Here he comes.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Slight Scandi accent there, very nice. Let's get rid of the music for a moment. He's going to put the ground pin in. Doc, yes, we went through it a minute ago. I think you missed it. 10-9 Delta, by the way, folks, is the taxi chart that we were on about.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Landvetter traffic, Osprey 165, stand 13, QNH 1020, Boeing 737-800, push and start, facing north. Pop the anti-collision lights on there, and we're going to pop all the fuel pumps on. We've got fuel in the centre tanks too, so we need to make sure those go on, left and right centre. While the ground equipment and the folks are on the ground doing their work.
Landvetter traffic, Osprey 131 Golf will be pushing back facing north, QNH 1020, push back after company traffic.
You love it, his dog's in the background helping him fly. Isolation valve set. In fact, let's think about the pushback here. I don't think this has custom jetways, but we'll find custom pushback system. But we'll find out in a moment. We want to go, if it's on the perspective of the pilot, we want the nose to go left. This is always confusing for me. Should be nose. You know what? It's 50-50. I'm pretty sure it's that one. We'll find out.
Brakes.
Let's go.
Closing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
Okay. Well, the anti-collision lights are on, and packs and everything are off as well. We're ready for this. So let's go ignition mode ground for engine 2. And we're going to monitor the N2. Here we go. Captain's perspective. Just doesn't work well for my brain. I wish, like when I did the profile for Bristol, I dictated like pushback north, pushback south. I tried to put a compass thing in there so that you could look at your nav display and go, right, I want the nose to face north, therefore I'll click nose north. It's just so much easier for simple people like me. I do, Dan. I need a sticky note on the screen. I need an aircraft diagram. That's what I need. Oh well, look at this. We're going. There's Neil in his 737-600 in the beautiful retro jet there. Fantastic. We're going to go engine 1 start. Wonderfully on the centre line there. When GSX works, it is beautiful. It is so good. Adam, you need to check the settings in the FMS. Oh dear.
Set parking brakes.
That didn't go well.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
I'm just going to wait for the N1 to rise there. Brian, good afternoon. I was hoping they would have taxied by that point. We've been there. They pushed back a while ago, whoever that is. I was going to get a nice screenshot as well. Confirm good engine start.
We have a good engine start.
Park brake's good.
Disconnect.
What we'll do is we'll just swivel this around, pretend like we haven't just reversed into somebody. And there is our first screenshot of the day, just as he goes into the nose wheel. Hayden, hello. Oh, Mikhail, is it you?
Unlocking gear.
You did have 10 minutes on me to go taxi, though. Oh my god, that was violent. Right. Gens 1 and 2. Ignitions on to continuous. We're
Tow
going to
truck
check.
disconnected. Bypass
1
pin
and 2.
removed.
Probes on. Voice recorders on automatic.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
AP bleed off. Engines bleeds on. Packs on. Isolation valve closed. That's set. They're all good. We're going to go to taxi APU off. Flap 5. 1, 2, 3. System page. Full right. Back to neutral. Full left. Back to neutral. All the way back. Hayden, very good, thank you. And all the way forwards. We're going to go. Just going to go right and back to neutral a couple of times here on the rudder, because it kind of it's one of those things that I mention every stream, but the sim forgets its sensitivity settings for it quite often for me. So I'll make the conscious effort to actually do a proper check of that every time. Have a good trick from GSX. What do we want? System. Like so. He's given us the wave. We're going to get the taxi charts back out again. Landvetter traffic. Osprey 165, taxi 2, hold point Yankee runway 21. By the apron, left towards Golf, right Zulu. Landvetter traffic. I will in a minute, Neil.
And then with the traffic, Osprey 4.9 will follow the company.
Just fly flaps 5 green. Elevator trim is set. We've done the flight controls, we've done the engine instruments. Let's pop the display on the top there. It's all sorted. We're going to go LNAV, VNAV, auto throttle, warning recall. Taxi lights are already on. We've done that. So now we're going to taxi to the hold point of the runway, get on our way. Robbie, it depends how quickly you are to set up, but you could always join us en route. PKG Blueface, it probably means you've got a departure set, like in America, that doesn't allow TCAS to begin with, and in fact will actually just give you a departure which will require vectors, and therefore you need heading mode for that. There we are, just grab Neil in a screenshot. We're going to go left onto Golf. Following the taxi charts here at Gothenburg-Landvetter. Checking left, that's where conflicting traffic could be coming from, and we will look right as well to be good. And we want first right onto Zulu. Michael says, good afternoon to you as well, saying the very scenic, challenging VOR NDB-01 approach today. It is indeed. Can't wait. First time doing that in the 737-800 as well. It's going to be interesting. At the hold checks. Fuel flow, reset rates. V-speeds are checked. MCP nav data and the radios are all checked as well. We're going to do another check of V-pilot. That's all good. We're going to continue to taxi onto the runway now, so we're going to go post lights, strobe and steady. Taxi lights off, runway turn off lights on, landing lights on. Following the taxi line around. There's Yankee coming up. Transponder is already set TARO. We're going to go traffic mode on. I'm actually going to use the clock today as well, just to see what happens as well throughout the journey. So runway 21 is confirmed, and we're briefed for the Toppler 3 Juliet departure. Landvetter traffic, Osprey 165, lining up via Yankee runway 21, taking off Toppler 3 Juliet departure, Landvetter traffic. Clock goes on. And the overhead is looking pretty good. My infinite paranoia. I'll do another click. Alberta, good morning. Aaron, yes, it is. So we've actually got two liveries, one with blended wings, one with split scimitar. But I'm sure you'll agree, the split scimitar looks epic. Look at that. And this freeware Gothenburg is really cool as well, has to be said. Just going to hold it on the toe brakes a little bit. There we are. So just before takeoff, I'm going to kill GSX. Nose goes forwards. We're going to set 40% M1. Dan, yeah, it depends on your setup for the lights, whether or not you've got LED or original. Engines look stable. Brakes are off. Toga. Cross set.
And then with the traffic, straight 45 final lining up with waiting consideration.
Jensen, howdy.
80 knots.
Rotate. Into a bit of a crosswind. Gear up. And our first departure. Away we go. Such an epic livery. Great work, Tapsy. It looks wonderful. CMDA engaged. Landing lights, or landing gear, sorry, is up and no lights. We're going to go RTO to off for the auto brake. Runway turn off lights off. And engine start mode switches to off. LNAV VNAV's got com.
Yankee via Zulu Golf and then Yankee.
We're going to go flaps 1 now. Dan, yeah, well, yeah. Also, it's recommended by GSX. It said it's a good thing, in fact, to cancel the QATL process in the system tray for departure, and then prior to your arrival in your destination, activate it once again. David, indeed. Hello to you, welcome.
And then with a traffic.
Fantastic weather, MPS Gaming. We need to go into the flight decks. I think we're near to 5. We are 1,000 below. So just before we get the C chord, let's continue the climb up. And we'll just set 350 for now, which is our cruise for today. In lieu of any ATC that might come online. So, flaps, no lights. Malteser, yes, but again, it depends on the airline, like Aaron's just said. Through transition, standard pressure. There's a lot going on for these departures.
Taxiing behind company, Baby Boeing.
Baby Boeing, love it.
Osprey 131 Golf. I could take offence to that, but I won't because I am a cute baby.
Let's go inside. Let's have a look at our custom livery. Our custom cabin. So, we have the Osprey Airways in-flight magazine called Soar, with a couple of MSFS screenshots in there as well.
Traffic, Baby Boeing is
and then a safety card as well.
To avoid smacking into company traffic. Alarm better traffic.
Pretty cool, right? Nice little tweaks. And there is one Easter egg inside this aeroplane that you guys need to find. I won't tell you where it is. We might have just been looking at it. It might be somewhere else. My VAS airplane toolbox, folks, and my performance calculations has pretty much told me that my aeroplane today cannot land at Skiathos because it is overweight. So we will see what happens. Right, no. That's one of the PMDG Easter eggs. Oh, David, excellent.
And then with the traffic, Osprey 459, 5,000 feet, continue climb flight level 370.
Badger's trying to keep Tapsy busy. He's got a list of liveries to create, to be fair. He's looking at a BBJ2 livery for the 737-800 Boeing business jet. Osprey World Cargo as well for the 800 cargo variant. And then Badger's just asked for a standardised Osprey 737-600 livery as well. A more modern version. Hayden says it's end of harvest at the moment, down below, and it's all brown. Interesting.
Make plane fly now.
Who's flying Airbus? It's been a little while since we've flown this part of the world, and it's very easy to forget how nice it is. Especially when you're flying around the fjords and things as well. It's generally pretty stunning. Ryan, yeah, it's in fairness to it, fairly stable now. As long as you've installed it correctly and you've got it sort of not clashing with your antivirus or your firewall, it's actually pretty good. Doc, the estimated landing weight 61.8 tons. I know, Dan. I need to vary the flights up a little bit, but my next flights will likely be in the BA 146. I think it's been a little while since we've been in that last, and the performance is probably the next best in the sim. Adam, yep, I've seen that comment a number of times. I responded to it a little while ago. I think you might have missed it. And Hayden, yeah, not in this particular part of Sweden, but I mean more generally Scandinavia. this part of the world, as in like the region, it's particularly stunning. Let's get the landing lights off because we're well over 10. Climb profile 1 today as well, so we're climbing a little bit quicker too. And then we can pop VOR1 off as well. And you can see now the coastline that we're going to be flying down all the way. Shuts, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Can't go wrong then, can you? That's the thing. I'll put the screenshots onto Volanta. Good grief, I've already got 2, 4, 6, 7. Wowzers. I'm hoping the weather stays good into Skiathos as well, otherwise it could be a little bit hairy. It's going to be tricky anyway at the best of times to get down. Des2's back, hello, welcome. Oh yeah, Queenstown, Hayden, always fantastic. Are you down here somewhere, Hayden? Bye to the Seychelles, Danny says, that would be good. It'd be quite a cool little flight for sure. ADC Swede, hello to you. That's not good. Oh well, maybe next time. It's being midweek, I tend to now kind of not really expect any ATC again. Tends to be the case in VATSIM, isn't it, during the weekdays. But it's always nice when they do appear. Yes, Dan, Twin Otter group flights. That's a good one as well, actually. A great suggestion there. Adam, I haven't, no. Asking have I been to Sweden in real life. I'd love to. Sweden, Norway, in general, I think I'd really, really very much like to visit those countries and go and explore, but no idea when I'll get the chance. It's funny actually, yesterday I was just having a conversation with the other half about where we would like to go for holiday next year once we've moved. We've cancelled Tokyo this year, of course. And it's a flip up between, do we go back to our plans to go to Tokyo again, or do we go to something else? Do we go back to Mauritius, for example, if we can afford it, that sort of thing. Neil, yeah, in the 600, climbs like a rocket, doesn't it? I do love the 600, it's great fun, and such a great price too. I mean, it blew me away with the pricing when they released it, but then a lot of us, including myself, were a little bit of the opinion of, what is the point of the 600. No one flies it in real life. That was a comment that I kept seeing across the community. Once we started flying it though, wow, totally different. And it's a incredibly good bit of fun as well. No, I haven't. Well, the new RAM from months ago, about a month or so ago, that's gone in. So I've now got Kingston Fury RAM installed instead of Corsair. Corsair actually, frustratingly, are being quite difficult to deal with for the RMA of my now broken RAM cards. They're being very, very slow to respond, and they're demanding that I do all sorts of tests, which are well above what I'm personally capable of. To be honest, I'd rather them just replace it, because it's disappointing. I expected a little bit better from Corsair, it has to be said. Yeah, lots of 737-600 fans here. David L as well, Badger, Neil. Yeah, it is remarkably good, and what an introduction to PMDG as well for people buying it, just to sort of get that experience because of the price too. Remarkably good. Jack, yes, they're the same aeroplane, but the only things you've got to bear in mind is the 800 is heavier, longer, flies a bit quicker, that sort of thing. So you've just got to be a bit more proactive and also avoid tail strikes during the rotation. Shet says I should get back into the DC-6. We need to fly back to Anchorage, actually, to be fair, in the DC-6. I'm so bad at flying that, though. Dan's torn between paying energy bills or paying energy bills. Some advice from you, for you, Dan, that I learned from something I watched on TV the other day. If you buy a new kettle at £20, by the end of the year you would have saved £10. Oh dear. So far distracted from reality, it's unreal. I tried really carefully there to say that with a straight face as well. Fell apart instantly. Just the sheer stupidity of what I was repeating. Oh, wonderful advice, isn't it, Dan? I went straight out and bought a new kettle. What I mean, it just, even the logic of the fact that you have to buy a 20 quid kettle to save 10 quid over a year, but you've spent 20 quid to save 10 quid, so you're still 10 quid down. Just stupidity. I don't know. Said, I'd imagine said with the right intentions. Oh no, who knows? Fritz, I'm not sure if there's a way of knowing, to be honest. Is anybody in the live chat watching at the moment flying the 737-800? Have you had a tail strike yet? Did you know? Did you get the warning on the ECAM pop up for tail strike? Did you hear a tail strike noise? Over 10 years, I'll have replaced that 20 quid kettle 3 times. At least 3 times. We can't all afford Smeg kettles or KitchenAid kettles or whatever they are. That's the ridiculously expensive ones. Zagreb, hello Christopher, coming in live from Zagreb. Very nice in real life, or in the sim doing a flight yourself. I am indeed ATC Swede, yeah, flying straight over through Swedish airspace. And we're just tickling the edge of Bremen radar, annoyingly, as well. Always happens to me when I'm streaming. We get ATC around us, but never through us. Ah well, it is what it is. Ground looks epic down below. And we are almost tailwind there, 23 knots, I'll take that. We're on a much slower climb at the moment as well, actually. Ringslum below, Malmo to the right. Yeah, Malmo's down here somewhere. He says, looking out the window ominously like he knows where it is. It is literally down. I think it's underneath that cloud, you know. I think Malmo is, the airport is just through the cloud, or it's just here somewhere. Roughly. I don't know. The photogrammetry looks very nice though, doesn't it? Look at that. Copenhagen is just over the water there. In fact, there is Copenhagen. Just see it in the distance, centre of the screen. Fly Tampa made beautiful scenery for that. Well worth every single penny, that. Unless you're going to go and buy a 20 quid kettle. Of course. Yeah, hello, welcome. Had a lecture about IT law. Good grief. Very complex. Matthew, yeah, still using live Rex weather to feed it in today. I spawned before yesterday's live stream yesterday. I actually spawned in to try and use live weather, and unfortunately what happened was I got a crash to desktop when the live weather was loading in. So there's a nuclear reactor on the knob to the right. No idea. It doesn't really tell me where the nuclear reactor is on Volanta, sadly. I'm assuming it's going to be that, or that little knob there. Who knows? Mr. Frog, yes, it will come in the near future. A couple of months max, and then it will be coming, I would imagine. Christopher, very nice. Hopefully you've had a nice trip. Hopefully he's okay. Thoughts from TFS. What are my thoughts on X-Plane 12? I don't think it looks any different to X-Plane 11, to be totally honest, so I think it's pointless. Hayden says it's straight off the engine now. Dan says, have I checked out City Update 1 yet? Cologne looks great. Flew into Aerosoft Cologne earlier. Approach now looks stunning. No, I haven't actually. Maybe that could be something for next week. We could do a route into Cologne of some sort. Second one, nice one, okay, got it. Birdman, don't worry, Avsim will regularly misinterpret something, sadly. Don't let him wind you up. He knows exactly what you mean. Higgins saying, how are we all going to fit in parked at Skiathos? Who knows? We've got the Orbex scenery as well, which sadly has two statics in the way as well, clogging up two of the main airliner stands. There's a couple of updates for the city update, isn't there, Dan? As you're saying there, Dusseldorf as well, and one other which I also have forgotten. Trying to think now. Yeah, Cologne or Dusseldorf, one of them I think will be particularly nice to fly into next week. We'll just have to pick a departure route of some sort to go and fly the route on. Maybe even fly Tampa Athens, for example, something like that. We've not done that in a long time. And Greece is always great. Jack says, where is the best place to buy scenery? Now that is a question that depends upon who creates it. Sometimes Orbex is the best bet. Sometimes Contrail, and the Contrail web shop is very good as well. And similarly, you might find scenery on Aerosoft's web shop, which you won't get on any other web shops. So you've got to shop around a little bit. The one thing I do avoid, though, myself personally, because I'm particularly myself not a fan of it, I don't buy anything from the MSFS marketplace. Just Flight's website's got a lot of stuff on it as well. So you do have to shop around. Sim Market too. If you want to, say for example, buy one particular piece of scenery like Orbeck's Skiathos, I would run it through Google first and see who sells it and what prices that you can get them for. I would always search through each website to try and find the best price effectively. Decimo, hello to you, welcome. Dan's saying a great cargo hub too for future Osprey cargo ops. Yeah, absolutely. Birdman says, God knows how much energy my PC is eating up when I'm flying. I daren't check. Yeah, similar to myself here. I haven't got a clue, but I also don't want to know. Mikhail says, Luke, did you forget something in the park cargo bay? Not at the moment, no. That's not the Easter egg from me either. Unless Tapsy's put something in there that I don't know of. MG King, so my issue with the marketplace, MSFS marketplace, is the very bad, or the lack of quality control, I should say. Lack of quality control. There is some absolute crap on that marketplace. That if they had any respect for people, they wouldn't sell. I.e. the Brecod 737, for example. Can't stand it. And Aerosoft, well, sorry, not Aerosoft, Sobo in the marketplace should have taken a stand and said, absolutely not, that crap isn't going to be sold on our marketplace. But they've gone for the 30% cut over the quality, so they're just thinking money, money. The way they encrypt it as well, I'm not a particular fan of, which means that things like GSX struggles to try and read the files, and also you can't go and tweak things or necessarily have the flexibility to just uninstall it or use things like add-on linker. It's just a little bit more complex. I find the prices a little bit higher too, and as Dan has said, updates take a lot longer on the marketplace. So if something breaks, your sim potentially, unless you find out exactly what it is that's broken within your update add-ons and you uninstall it, your sim won't necessarily work or be as stable. For those of us who buy on Contrail or Orbex or anything like that, the updates tend to come the second the developer clicks update, so we just download it and enjoy it, the fixed version, immediately. Whereas those of you on the MSF marketplace has to wait, you all have to wait basically for a Sobo to re-encrypt it to their own standard and put it, the update, into the marketplace manually, and it tends to be a couple of weeks at a time. As Dan's saying there, about 4 to 6 weeks, which is too long to wait for a fix. Chris, good morning. Now today we're cruising at flight level 350, and I would ordinarily think to myself, right, you know what we could do? We could maybe think about step climbs, and we could step up to 370, 390, that sort of thing, but today I want to burn fuel. I don't want to be too heavy flying into Skiathos, because then we're going to have problems with these two. This one here could be an interesting fly past. Looking at his rough trajectory, let's see what happens. Captain Live saying, when is Sim Update 10 coming? Who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. I think it's hopefully it's going to come in the next couple of weeks. MG King says, good to know, I'm thinking of buying the Skiathos update. Which Skiathos update? Do you mean the Orbex Skiathos? If you are, get it just through Orbex direct. They created the scenery as well, so they will have it at the best price, I'd like to think. But also your updates will be imminent. And very easy to do using Orbex and Contrail for updates. You just literally, it will tell you when you load up the program that you have a product that can be updated, and you click the button. Job done. Okay, well he's on the nose now. We've got 3 on TCAS now. Good grief, wow, all going the same direction. And I can't even see them on Volanta, so I have no idea. Lufthansa one Hotel X-ray off to Helsinki actually. The one on in the middle is Lufthansa 392, and then there's Lufthansa 8 Echo Echo. A little bit out of draw distance though. I was hoping we'd spot him, but that, I mean, that would have been a really cool crossover. Now we are into Polish airspace already. LD, hello to you, saying, I hope you're doing good. I'm very well, thank you for asking. Asking, what are you using for camera views on the PMDG 737? Is it a plug-in or the ordinary MSFS? All I'm using is the ones that I've uploaded onto flightsim.co, which are my custom cabin views, which are all of these, effectively. So both sides of the aircraft, I've added some sort of custom views there as well. Captain Live, MSFS by a long shot. Keep smashing the like button, folks, if you're here. 105 watching at the moment, 36 likes. If you are enjoying it today, please do let us know by giving us a thumbs up. And we're looking at the centre tanks at the moment because we're burning through that nicely. That will start to empty fairly quickly. In the next 20-30 minutes, I think, they will be empty, and we will have to then turn off the centre tanks in the overhead panel. We'll be not too far off a master caution from that. DCMR, no, I've stopped flying since May. Can't afford it, sadly. Christian, I have already. About a month ago, we flew into Corfu. Very nice. Though I do find the island part of the add-on for Flytampers Corfu just destroys performance. It can cause a couple of issues. But it is a remarkably stunning bit of scenery, isn't it? In fact, that's one thing I'd probably like to do in the near future, do a departure out of Corfu. We do a lot of short field landings, but I want to do a short field takeoff in this as well to sort of see the performance of it, see how sporty it is on toga departures with flaps, say 15 for takeoff. In the Airbus, it's very, very easy to do, but in this, it's going to be a little bit more hands-on and quite busy, I think. Especially if your route actually would take you back as far as like Manchester. You're going to be full of fuel. Very, very heavy indeed. So I'm wondering what flap setting you would need actually. Mikhail's done a fuel check at Poken. Fuel is spot on. Awesome. We've just passed Ekron 8.4. .3. So if we step climb, we will get more efficiency out of the engines. We'll stretch those fuel tanks even further and burn less fuel, but I don't want to do that for Skiathos. I want the aeroplane to be as light as possible, close to what we've planned for. It's going to be difficult enough trying to stop this on that runway. Schutz flew the Phoenix for the first time in a while last night. Inadvertently switched off engine 1 on final. It did not end well. Oh dear. Did it just stop flying properly, or did you just struggle to control it? Because it should be able to obviously fly that approach on a single engine quite nicely, quite accurately. Certainly the Livery White A32NX can, but I've tried. We've done a single engine approach, descent approach and landing in the 737-700 in the past, which was wonderful, really, really good. That amazed me actually, how good the PMDG 737 is. I've not tried it in the Phoenix. Not tried it in the Phoenix. be interesting to hear what it actually does. A couple of new subscribers flashing up on the screen there. Let me dig you out. Let's have a look. Richie, welcome on board. Peter, Mr. Frog, Higgin, Robbie Broyden, welcome on board, folks. Stephen O'Brien as well. Great to have you all on board with us. And if you've not yet done so, hit the red button and subscribe to the channel as well. You hit the notification bell, you won't miss any of our live streams or any of our new videos whenever they do appear. Ah, shuts. Yeah, you see, I don't think that is anything you've done. I've noticed if, say for example, you touch down and only one reverser deploys, I've noticed the Fenix becomes completely uncontrollable on touchdown. Is one of the many things that they need to fix. It kind of ruins the experience for me with Fenix, which is why I'm so hesitant, and I haven't used it for quite a while now, because I'm getting frustrated with the lack of performance and a couple of those issues with landing and things like that. In fact, when was it? We flew to Heraklion, I think, didn't we, a little while ago in the Fenix, and it veered off the runway, just touched down and just completely went out of control, which is all a little bit weird. Decimo, that's not a bad shout actually, to be fair. I'd not considered that, but at the moment I haven't really got the time. Obviously we're doing streams and things as well, but at work at the moment I'm trying to get promoted, and there's a very long-winded process, including a fair bit of study and everything else involved too, so I'm trying to do that whilst also moving house. Jason, howdy. Hope you're all okay. Dan, just on average, Dan, I find the frames significantly worse in the Fenix than I do in anything else. And I put it down to the fact it runs outside the sim.
Your flight stream videos are just amazing. Great content and useful information. Keep it up.
And certainly my spec should be able to keep up. Leedy, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Thanks for dropping a super chat there. Glad you enjoy the content. Harry, no, this is just done during my days off, effectively. Over Poland now. The livery looked fantastic in the 737-700. It looks even more incredible on the 800. Makes it look really long in comparison. Yeah, AbSim. I don't have ultra settings switched on except for one or two things. Mostly everything's on high, but if I didn't cap the sim at 35 frames per second, in this I could get 50 odd frames. Yet in the Fenix I'm looking at around 20 to 25 frames per second on average. And bearing in mind I haven't got an awful system spec wise. For those of you who don't know, I've got an RTX 2070 Super, I've got a Ryzen 5 3600X and 64 gig of RAM, and yeah, I use streamer mode, Dan, as well in the Fenix. And I've got the sim and the Fenix installed on my NVMe M1 M2 SSD, so it should be rapid. It shouldn't suffer as much as it does, but for me, the Fenix just isn't great in performance, and lots of other people have said the same thing as well. Lots of other people have said the same thing. It's a regular complaint on their Discord. And that's pretty good. What spec do you have by comparison? I think you've mentioned it before, but I forget. Jason, I talk like a real person. As opposed to what? As opposed to what? I'm not a marketer, basically. I just say what I think. MPS Gaming, yeah, you took off pretty much at stream start time, didn't you? 1300 British summertime, 1200 Z or UTC. Kokolada, hello, or Hergy rather. What's the ETA? I might depart from Bulgaria, the home of the goated European air charter. Good grief. You guys have got a really unhealthy obsession with that. I've got an ETA of 1458Z-ish. Richie, hello, saying I was going to buy the Fenix, but think I won't now, as I've got an older processor and a graphics card. Richie, with your graphics card and your processor, what's your performance like on the fly-by-wire A32NX, out of curiosity? And also, if you've got the PMDG 737s, what's your performance like on those? If you haven't got the 737, in fact, and you are going to buy a payware aircraft, this is the one that I would recommend you get. It is epic. Electrox, absolutely, yes. I think the fact that we're having to run most of the simulation of the Fenix outside the sim using their program, it just wrecks my computer. Okay, so Richie, in that case, you're probably going to get about 25 frames per second with the Fenix, not counting any scenery that you may or may not have. On the PMDG 737, however, you'd be looking at maybe 35 to 40 frames per second. Christopher saying PMDG is so smooth because the textures and modelling is pretty meh. I don't know what's meh about that. I mean, it's something I see a couple of people mention every now and again, but I really don't understand what people's gripe is with it. I think it's absolutely spectacular. Richard says, I never got the PMDG as the minimum requirements is an i7 and you're running an i5 at the moment. Interesting. Genuinely, I think if you're running the A32NX, Richie, and you're getting around 30 frames per second on that, you will gain 5 to 10 frames per second at least with the PMDG aircraft. Although Electrox Shoulder just said that he's running an i5 and get 50 to 60 frames per second. Wow. By far and a long way, the 737 is the best on performance, followed closely by the Just Flight 146. And then there's a significant gap, I would say, between performance of other aeroplanes. And textures inside depends on the livery. Look how good that looks. You can do a lot with this aeroplane. This is our custom cabin. got our SAW magazine there as well. For those of you who like to read the in-flight magazine, we've got our own Osprey Airways magazine. And for those of you wondering what the Easter egg is, scan the QR code. It works. Absolutely epic. And then little Easter eggs that PMDG have put in as well down here in the cargo hold. Little things like that that PMDG have put in, which is quite funny. CRJ is good. Lolo, yeah, that's probably the third best on performance actually. The 16 Chapel, that's the one, Mikkel. Richie, absolutely. I think as well, if you're new to PMDG, it depends on what your budget is actually, Richie, as well, to be fair. I think if you were going to buy just one, I would say get the 737-800. But if you had the budget to buy two of the 737s, I'd recommend trying the 600 first, having that little dinky sports car version of the 737, and then get the 800. But if you were going to get one, then get the 800 variant. Absolutely, is worth every penny. It's great. And there's an EFB coming in the next couple of months as well from PMDG, just to bring that little increase to the quality of life of the add-on. Adam, so sets custom views, and then I can also, you can do 3-look basically, so you can move around the cabin. Absam says Fenix lied about these IAEs and Sharkless, honestly, not said anything since the release of the plane itself. Interesting. Yeah, actually I remember them saying that shortly after launch there was going to be IAEs in an update and Sharklets as well, but they've not done anything very much with updates, have they, since its release, interestingly. Well remembered, Absim, actually. I like the Fenix for what it offers. Performance for me, it tends to be once that Fenix program launches and activates the aeroplane, I notice my CPU gets rinsed and my GPU gets rinsed, and it doesn't happen in any other aeroplane. So it's an optimization issue inside the Fenix for me, at least in my opinion, from what I can see on my end. And I've got a mid-range-ish computer, and that's half the problem as well, Dan. There was a big old hype train with Fenix. PMDG very reserved prior to release, weren't they? In contrast, they were very reserved, very confident in what they were going to offer. I get it, as you're saying as well. Fenix is a new company, isn't it? It's their first product for flight sim, so I suppose in their mind they wanted to create this big old hype train, but they paired up with streamers and things that overly hyped it. I think they weren't critical enough about things like performance and things that they would like to see improved. It was just, it's all amazing. Whereas PMDG were very controlled in their release of the product during content previews. I think only 3 of us were given preview, or 3 or 4 of us were given the ability to preview the 737-700 when that released, which was a huge honour. Fenix, by contrast, just gave it to everybody. Everybody who was a content creator could stream with it in an instant. So it created this huge, huge hype train. And then they had to live up to that as well. Christopher says, or maybe it's because the Fenix is more advanced. We all know that more advanced stuff is heavier on frames. I don't think so. I think they're very similar in the levels of advancedness. Obviously, one's a Boeing, one's an Airbus. Let me just sort out the fuel, master caution, because the centre tanks are empty. We need to do a little bit of proactive balancing. Lolo's asking, is Pilot Plus Bristol good? It's epic. It's really good. Crossfeed on. I mean, this, you have to do this in the Boeing. You don't have to do this in the in the Airbus. So I like the fact this is more hands-on. Heyo, hello to you, good morning. Wowzers, MPS Gaming says his Fenix app uses 34% memory on a 3090. Jesus, is that just the Fenix app or is that MSFS? Have I misunderstood that? Juliet says 40% on GPU. Crikey, are you guys on about Fenix or are you on about MSFS in general with the Fenix? Well, Christopher, when you're on about how air moves depending on what systems are on, it simulates bleed and it simulates cabin pressurization and everything else, so it must do. Bearing in mind it's feature rich, full of failures inside here, service-based failures and all the rest of it. Certainly, I'm fairly certain they simulate hydraulics and air moving. Yeah, well, Christopher, the thing is, with the A320 pilots that are streamers, given the, as you're saying there, the wax lyrical about the Fenix, they're part of the Fenix team, don't forget. 320 sim pilot, Katie pilot on Twitch, Katie pilot ended up employed by Fenix, don't forget. She created the EFB based on the British Airways one, so I'd take anything they say with a pinch of salt. Anybody that works for the developer who is a streamer, don't take their word for it, ultimately, because they are part of the marketing feed. Don't forget that, folks. That's where independent streamers can be more valuable in a way, because we don't necessarily have to care about the marketing hype or anything like that. But also the rules of YouTube, for example, for those of them that actually are part of YouTube, stream on YouTube or do videos on YouTube, and I'm pretty certain it would be the same for Twitch as well, is you're supposed to make it known that you've been paid by a developer to advertise and say good things about it effectively. That's one thing that you've got to bear in mind. And with Katie Pilot, you still get on her Twitter, you still get a lot of marketing stuff about Fenix being this and that on her Twitter. It's incredible what Fenix have done. As we've said, it's their first ever product to MSFS. We're certainly not hating on it, I really like it. But for me, the performance is too different. It's not that great. Chris is saying Black Box and V1 are outside the team. Not watched either of those, to be honest. V1 actually, I caught a clip yesterday of V1 previewing X-Plane 12's beta, and my very short little bit of him, watching him, was a short sort of introduction to that preview of X-Plane 12 was him going warp speed in an A340, and kind of ruining the fact that they were arguing they'd created amazing physics. Exactly, Electrox. Birdman says, I've also had the Fenix veering off the runway thing you mentioned many times, Birdman says. Yeah, and that's something that urgently should be updated, in my opinion. because I've seen a few people reporting the same thing, and I've had it happen to me twice, and it's not fun because it does ruin what otherwise would have been a nice, smooth, uneventful flight if you're trying to fly accurately and smoothly. Who knows? Like I said, I really like the Fenix. I think it's fantastic. But my experience of them have been very different. At the moment, dare I say, I would probably say the fly-by-wire A32NX beats the Fenix at this stage. In some instances, Avsim, yes, but in other instances, including one touchdown that I've done in the Fenix, without using any rudder deflections really, or at least massively, and having both reversers on, it still swerved off the runway because my touchdown was under 100 foot per minute. So there's something else going on there. It doesn't make any sense. Dan, yeah, I couldn't believe that. Yeah, just really surprising. Hayden says he prefers the fly-by-wire over the Fenix. Christopher says the veering off thing is a setting in the Fenix that you need to do in the EFB. What do you mean? I just toggle it off. I don't understand what you mean there. Gav, hello buddy. But Christopher's saying it's an MSFS physics issue. It's not though, is it? Let's face it, because it doesn't happen in any other aircraft. It's something that they can tweak in the Fenix stuff to make it not do it. It doesn't happen in the PMDG, it doesn't happen in the 146 or the fly-by-wire A32NX or the PA28 or anything else. No, Absim, I just said I didn't use full rudder. Good to hear, Jeff, saying that he disagrees. He prefers the Fenix over the A32NX. So I thought it was pronounced Phoenix, but then when I was in a video or voice call, sorry, with some of the Fenix staff pre-release, they kept referring to it as Fenix. So then I figured I was saying it wrong. I'm not sure. I don't think it's ever been something that's been cleared up actually either. And exactly, it's something that's been present for many months, but the ones that are employed by Fenix don't talk about it, interestingly, but it appears to have happened to quite a few of us, streamers and otherwise. Uncheck the coupling where the pedals turn the nose wheel and there will be no more veering off. Or just make it not happen, because in this, my tiller's linked to the nose wheel and the rudders, as it is in the fly-by-wire A32NX, it's not a problem. But yeah, who knows. Yeah, I'd like to see a complete remodelling of the A32NX. It's something that the fly-by-wire team have been mentioning that they've been trying to do for a very long time, actually, haven't they? What's nice is I think the Fenix A320 has really given fly-by-wire a kick, because they started to bring in a lot of features that people quickly deemed important that were available on the Fenix but weren't available on the fly-by-wire A32NX. Dan saying there, the tiller disconnect is nothing to do with the sliding. See, my theory is it's where something's gone wrong in the coding of the aircraft on touchdown under certain conditions where it breaks the flight model. That was my thought process behind it, because I had experimented things with rudder and all that to try and work out what it was off stream. Couldn't work it out. Automated, good morning. Phoenix it is. I'd like to see some update. I'd like to see the IAEs, indeed, yeah, Avsim. I think I'd like to see the IAE engines being incorporated into this as well. It'd be quite nice. Electrox saying toolbar pushback also works fine with the Phoenix, despite them saying it's still incompatible. For me, actually, the last time I used it, it was incompatible. And whilst it worked okay to begin with, when we then began our descent, I can't remember where it was we were flying, but we began a descent somewhere, and the VNAV was completely broken in the Phoenix. It turns out that it's because toolbar pushback was still in the background. Krista, that's not to say it's not a problem or not a bug. It just means that the conditions are slightly different. So wherever they're flying, whatever their touchdown rating is, or whatever it is that's causing the problem, they haven't encountered it yet. Or they have offline and not talked about it, potentially. That's another way of looking at it. But it's only happened twice to me on multiple Phoenix flights. Max 777 or max 78 to round it up neatly, Mikhail, for speed. Dan, yeah, absolutely. It's not too long to wait for that either. 2 or so more months. Saying there that let's hope the A310 from Mini Builds is going to be incorporated for free, folks, into the 40th anniversary edition of Microsoft Flight Simulator in November time. So let's hope the A310 gives us another high-quality aircraft to throw into the discussion. I've got some good confidence with that. I think it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a nice little blend of old school and new school as well, I think. Going to be quite interesting. Oh, Birdman, I know that was another issue as well. That was another issue entirely. Well remembered, but no, that was linked to live weather. That particular one that you're referring to there, Birdman. Richie's looking forward to the Milviz ATR. Yeah, when's that coming? Jeff says it's kind of funny to see all the streamers play X-Plane 12 on release day and then go straight back to MSFS the very next day. Says it all, doesn't it? Oh, I hope not, Avsim. That would be a huge disappointment. Though I also want it to go onto Xbox, so those of you who sim on Xbox can enjoy it. I think I'll be wildly disappointed if it's watered down based on PC experience, which is a totally different kind of simulation to Xbox. I think I'll still stick by that. Well, Milviz now, actually, Richie, is called, is it Blackbird Simulations now, I think, isn't it, from memory? They've changed the name. Dan, that annoys me. That's just trying to trick the algorithm. Just a third of the way now, or just over a third of the way now, in fact. If we look at Volanta, do a little progress update. We've skirted the edge of Bremen radar the whole time, sadly. No ATC. And we've got a little bit of a conga line ending here. Skyworker, Osprey 1171. And we've got Faris, Osprey 9015, Scandinavian 1337. Hugo R, Scandinavian 1337 there as well. Neil in his Boeing 737-600. Osprey 459. Mikael there, which is Osprey 479 I think. 459 I should say. And ahead of us we've got Badger, Scandinavian 919er. And then all the way up here is Scandinavian 528, which is MPS Gaming, departed about 15 or so minutes ahead of us. And there we are. Currently, overlook Nisa, just off the edge. In fact, just about to pass into Czech Republic. And then Slovakian airspace, so that's where we are at the moment. Crossing Europe quite nicely. A third of the way there. No more screenshots to upload yet. We've done a couple already. That sim looks quite busy, doesn't it? Again today. Dan, I won't say anything. I won't say anything. Andy says, has anybody been following the Boom Overture? It's been ordered by American and United. Supersonic is coming back to the skies in 2025. You know what? I've kind of been following it loosely. I'm not convinced it's ever going to fly, to be honest. They've just changed the engine's style, haven't they, and remodeled it. And it just reminds me of one of those freeware projects that is a thing for a bit and then doesn't actually become a thing. It just reminds me of an MSFS freeware project, Boom Overture, but at the cost of billions of pounds of probably taxpayers' money from the US and everything else. David's been triggered by Dan. Yeah, it's interesting. We all have the same thoughts about that sort of thing. Brian said he had both of the alignment things switch off weirdly on the 737-800 on a flight from East Midlands to Menorca this morning. Had to hand fly the last 45 minutes. Good grief. Did you check the failures box in the FMS to see if you had an IRS failure or anything like that? Hayden says, can you find me? Are you flying the route today? I can see UC, Ryanair 99 Sierra Mike, Gothenburg to Stansted. But I can't see you, Hayden. Now, what are the benefits of Volanta? Basically, it allows you to track your flights. It works like Sim Toolkit Pro, but it's part of Orbex. Yeah, it's quite nice to use. It also gives you a touchdown rating as well if you want to sort of view that at the end of a flight if you don't use things like landing rate monitor. I can't see you, Hayden. Unless I'm entirely looking in the wrong part of the world. Skyways 2066. Yeah, David. By community, he means bank account. Bank account and sponsorship deals. I can't find you. I've just found Captain Andy B, Skyways 2855, but I can't find Skyways 2066. Although, actually, I think on Volanta you can do a search, can't you? Bear with me. I wish I was better at tech. Skyways 2066. Let's find him, folks. I'll share my Volanta screen so you can see how the search function works. There he is, active now. Bingo. He's going Garrig to Samos, epic. And he is... That's the line flown so far. There he is. Skyways 2066. Epic. No screenshots yet though. The landing rate does indeed differ a bit between LRM and Volanta. Not sure why. Brian, that's really quite impressive, saying approaching 2,000 hours in Fly UK. Dan says, have I broke the rules again and ran Skytrack in the background for this flight to keep your Fly UK active? No, I haven't actually today, to be fair. I got in trouble for it last time. Because I think we were flying an Osprey livery, but flew Skytrack. I marked it off for an offline flight, but they caught me out. Sometimes there's too much going on. There you go, you've reminded David though, Dan, so thank you for that. It's got 8 days. I need to get another one in soon. But the next world update is going to be Canada, isn't it? So Aurora is a great option there for Canadian flights in the 737-700 for Fly UK pilots. Andre, hello to you, saying, question yesterday, if you have KDEN Flybeam, you must uninstall the Asobo KDEN package. Yes. Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, they kind of, it gets a bit messy. Otherwise. Yeah, very much so. The last tour we did was the Scenic South America tour, wasn't it, with Fly UK, in fact. Dan, that was really good. David, yeah, Twin Otter for Aurora 2. Great options, great livery as well for Aurora, has to be said. Evil Strawberry, hello. Dan, I've done that one, it's a great tour. All the way around, isn't it? It takes you around the US. Evan says, what's the best resource to learn how to fly on a sim? So pick your aircraft that you want to learn and then check out things like YouTube, things like that for tutorials. It's things like the 737 from PMDG, something like that, or the Aerosoft CLJ, then check out the playlists on this channel here. I've done quite a few tutorials to try and help people get started on the basics and then go from there. Plenty of resources to get stuck into, really. Crikey, Dan, that's a mega mission. And is that 6 months flying a lot of hops each week, or is that just doing a couple a week, one a week? Neil, nice work. Adam saying tips for AI traffic. So it depends on what you want to do. I would probably say use AIG and then use their traffic injector. Yeah, that's another option as well. To be fair, actually, I should do some of the Osprey Airways tours that we've created as well. I'm yet to do Tour de Rue. In fact, I'm yet to do any of the ones I've created. I want to finish the Japan tour actually. That's the one I have started myself. Dan, awesome. Andy's, where'd you get the flight detail banner at the top of the screen? It's Fly Live Studio, but it's for like streaming purposes only, so I can't actually see it on my screen. It displays on your screen as you're watching it, wherever you are in the world on the stream. Evil, I think it looks pretty rubbish to be honest at the moment. Certainly not worth changing from X-Plane 11 if you have X-Plane 11. I don't think it offers anything. Andre, thank you very much, buddy. Welcome aboard, joining us as a bronze frequent flyer. Dan, that's a great shout. An NFL tour, and the season's just about to start as well. Automator, yeah, interesting actually. Was it Reg Designs had a Toronto, quite heavy on performance, that I've been using a little while. I've actually deleted that and installed it, and I've purchased the Fly Tampa Toronto instead, which is much, much better. Probably do a little sit rep in the front here. Adolf in 61 miles. We'll do another fuel check there. We should have at Badov 6.1 tons of fuel on board at that point, so we'll know where we're at with our fuel burn. Andy, yeah, absolutely. Dangerous Airports tour looks very, very cool indeed from Fly UK. Lots of flying involved. There's some great, great routes to choose from. I mean, the thing with the Fly UK options at the moment now, with the 737-800 having been released, and the 700 being released too a couple of months back, we've now got a whole swathe of options for routes between Boeing 737s and Airbus A320s, A320neos. We've got routes for the 747-8 for those of you who like to fly that in MSFS. The 787-10 has got a couple as well. So there's lots and lots and lots of options for us to get stuck into. Lots for the Twin Otter, which is really good, and the CRJ 700. No news on Just Flight traffic just yet, Lolo. Hopefully we won't be waiting too long for it though. It does look very good, doesn't it? Yeah, I might rally people together to kick off a tour at some point, another Fly UK tour of some sort, and maybe that's what we can just chip away at twice a month during streams, is actually just do one of those tour routes. You know, do it over the course of a year perhaps. Andy saying, must admit I've been concentrating on the A32NX lately, but like to get back into the 747-8. Yeah, we've not done that for a very long time, to be fair. Salty Simulations apparently been making some decent little ideas, updates and things with it. Andy said he did the Germany tour a while back. Fly UK had a beer at every airport. I'm going to load up the Fly UK website actually, have a look at some of the Class A tours. But then it's also dependent on what level of pilots we all are as well. Yeah, short haul world tour, here we go. So it's Class A only for those of you going through the ranks. Newcastle to Innsbruck. Now that's cool. These are actually pretty cool. So Newcastle to Innsbruck, like about 2 hour flight time. Innsbruck to Corfu, again about 1 hour 40, both great airports there. And then departing Corfu for Larnaca, 2 hours 15. Larnaca to Baghdad, 1 hour 40. Baghdad to Dubai, 2 hours. Dubai to Ahmedabad, 2 hours. Ahmedabad to Thimphu, in wherever that is. Hold on, VQPR, isn't that Paro? That's Paro, isn't it? Thimphu? About 2 hours anyway, that says. And again, they all seem to be about 2 hours in length, and there's a couple of shorter ones, 1 hour 10. So Thimphu to Yangon, Yangon to Bangkok, Bangkok to Singapore, Singapore to Brunei, and then on to Manila. Manila to Kowloon in Hong Kong. Kowloon to Taipei. VHHX, isn't that Kai Tak? Not sure. Taipei on there, off to Hong Kiao in China, then onwards to Seoul. Seoul to Umura, which is Nagasaki, I think that's supposed to actually be. Nagasaki to Narita, then on to Sapporo, so 3 Japan trips there, beautiful. Sapporo to Petropavlovsk, then onwards to Adak Islands, Adak Island to Cold Bay, onwards to Anchorage, on to Juneau, then Seattle, San Francisco, Colorado, Chicago O'Hare, Boston, St. John's, Narsiswar, and Keflavik, and then Keflavik back to Newcastle. That's pretty cool. What a route that is. 33 unique airports all around the world. That sounds pretty good. Short haul round the world tour for Class A, that one is. What else have we got? Scandinavia, south to north. That could be a good one. I mean, we're yet to do the UK regions loop, to be honest. Oh no, hold on, that's Class E. What about Class B? I've done America's north to south. Aeropostale sounds like a mad route. Starting in Paris, Charles de Gaulle, you head to Bordeaux, Toulouse, Barcelona, Alicante, Malaga, Casablanca, Agadir, Marrakesh, I think, on to Dakhla, Nouadhibou, Dakar, Cape Verde, and then a 4-hour jaunt across the Atlantic from Cape Verde to Natal in Brazil, on to Recife, then Salvador, Gabeira, Rio de Janeiro, but not Rio de Janeiro city centre, actually Rio de Janeiro Santos Dumont, I think that is, which would be epic. Then Sao Paulo, Florianopolis, Porto Alegre, Montevideo, Buenos Aires, Mendoza and Santiago. There's some great routes. The beauty of the tours is it keeps you very, very busy. It gives you lots to do inside a virtual airline. Canadian North, this is the one that we want to do. Once the Canada World Update comes, maybe we should do the Canadian North Class C tour with Fly UK, Aurora. Toronto to Thunder Bay, to Manitoba, to Regina, to Calgary, Victoria, Prince George, Janeo, Fairbanks, Whitehorse, Yellowknife, Edmonton, Thompson, Saskatoon, Rankin Inlet, Iqaluit, Goose Bay, St. John's, Charlottetown, Montreal, Halifax, Ontario, Lincoln, Quebec City, Ottawa and Toronto. Wowzers. 25 legs. And a total duration of 40 hours, basically. Over 12,000 nautical miles flown. That's pretty cool. That's a Class C tour, so for those of you who are joining Fly UK, you could get to Class C fairly quickly if you put the time and effort in. By the way, little side note, look at the view in front of the aeroplane there, that's remarkable. Neil says Matt needs to let me immediately fly the 737, that's all I fly. I'm not sure if you can hours transfer, I've never considered it. We are passing, by the way, Budapest, look at that. Hungary. Neil, the Cessna Grand Caravan is not that bad, honestly. You appreciate how stunning, how spectacular Microsoft Flight Simulator is when you're buzzing around New Zealand in the Grand Caravan. It's well worth just doing a couple of hours with it. It's pretty nice. Look at this high level cloud. Budapest. Aiden, very true. But then I guess they will argue that their rules are their rules and it's not to be merged with Osprey. Shame we can't do like an Osprey code share. That would be epic, wouldn't it? But then the problem is, problem there is all we'd end up flying is Osprey. David, good morning to you. Hope you're well. In fact, no, you're this side of the world, aren't you now, at the moment? So good afternoon. Sure does, David. Looks great on the 737-800. I'm not sure how it's going to work flying into Skiathos in this, let's be honest. Absolutely, Dan. David says you can set up VA routes in FS Hub if we want official Osprey routes. So I tried to do that. I think I started with a couple and then I just gave up in the end because every single one of them has to be added manually. It just became a bit too difficult. David, nice. How was the drive? How's the holiday going so far? Hey, hello, there's an aircraft departing Budapest. Just see some nav lights where the cursor is. You might not be able to see it on your screen. There's literally one just gone airborne at Budapest, which if we find them is Turkish 61 Budapest to LTCG. That's who that is. High flyer, VOR DME. Those of you thinking about the approach, in fact, we can unpin all these departure charts for Landvetter, and then we can look at Skiathos. Effectively, we're just going to go direct in here from Thessaloniki to Skopilos, and then from Skopilos the lock center runway 01 approach. So we're going to overfly Skopilos. There's a hold there. If it gets really busy and we start to queue, or there's a couple of go-arounds or anything like that, we'll have to join the hold and wait till other aircraft have got through and out the way, for example. We're going to go to Skopilos and we're going to fly outbound on a track of 203 degrees to 10 DME, descending down to 2,000 feet by that point. And at the 10 DME point from the Skopilos VOR, which is on another island, on a different island to Skiathos, we're then going to begin a right turn max 185 knots to head inbound towards the airfield at 008 degrees. It's an offset track. And then we'll be heading inbound to the Skiathos NDB 008 degrees. So a little tricky. Not done it on an aeroplane that flies an approach this quick, and the minimums here, non-CFDA, 1600 feet. So if we want to think about CDFA, which is then incorporating a go-around altitude into that, we'd add 50 feet, because it usually takes that long for the aeroplane to spool up the engines and begin to actually climb away. There we go. You can see here from this point, FQ01, the autopilot and everything goes off, and we hand fly the final bit of the approach here. Looks complex, it's not. What's going to be difficult is stopping this aeroplane on about 1,500 meters worth of usable runway length. We're all going to need to make sure that we've got around 4 minutes or so of separation, because we're going to land, we're going to have to backtrack and then head back again. So we're going to have to try and be proactive in working out how many minutes there are between each arrival, and we might all have to stack in the hold ourselves and be quite disciplined with it, so that we can have 4-minute gaps in potentially, and then when we arrive we're just going to have to park up on relevant stands there. We've got a profile for this downloaded from flightsim.to. Neil, no, that's a different mat. Neil, you'll be okay, I'm sure. It's a beautiful approach. JB, hello, welcome. Neil, if you want to set it up now, so you have time to sort of put it into the FMC and things like that, then you could do. Hold-wise, I wouldn't worry, it's super easy. Oh, it's not going to give me the TAF. Boom. Let's see. TAF for Skiathos. Let's Google it. I want to see if the wind is likely to change in the next 2 or so hours. No. 020 at 12 average, between 16 and 18 Z350 at 10 knots. At the moment it's 010 at 11 knots, so happy days. They are high flyer indeed. Yeah, I'd imagine we're going to get a brakes overheat warning or something as well today for the first time. We're going to be using max auto brake and full reverse thrust to try and slow down. Mikael says on Orbeck Central you can disable statics LGSK, and I know there's another, is it Gothenburg has apparently had that update as well? I can't for the life of me find it. I can't find the option to disable statics. I don't really know what I'm doing wrong or differently. Right, Neil. Click departure/arrival here. Then press LGSK arrival. Runway 01. Sorry, no, ignore me. NDM 01. Click that. Transition over Skopilos. That's it. Execute. And then on your page here, you should have Thessaloniki, Lekpo, Ampsiv, Egisa, Vamos, Skopilos, D203 Charlie, D203 Juliet, and then FQ01, which is what we just saw on the charts. Yeah, on Orbeck Central I only have verify files or uninstall. That's all I've got. iFlyer, no, yeah, if you've got Orbeck scenery from the marketplace, you're stuck, I think. That's why I never use the marketplace. That's it, Neil. So all you have to do then is tune the Skopilos VOR, which we could do now if we want, realistically. So Skopilos 1134. And I'm actually going to put it into nav 2. 1134. Or I could put that active now if you want as well, Neil. And then up here, the nav 2's course, make sure you set 203. For nav 1, I'm going to set 008 because that's the inbound track to the airfield that we mentioned. And then down the very bottom here, for the NDBs, for the ADF, we want to tune 326. And then you can just transfer that across to the active box. And it should be, I think it auto updates Orbeck Central, doesn't it? Or do I have to re-download a new version or something? Fix rings, these are really helpful. Go fix SKE /10. And then I'm going to go next page and I'm going to do runway 01 /5, which is going to be pretty much FQ01. And they're going to be two visual indicators that are going to help us with lining everything up. Effectively, at FQ01, we have to be at 1,600 feet. Then the autopilot comes off, the auto throttle comes off, and we hand fly the approach in like a visual approach. At that point, it doesn't matter what it happens, as long as you get it down. Yeah, interestingly, Dan, I don't have those. Very weird. Kerup, 5.9, we'll do it at fuel check. 5.5, lovely. We're actually burning less fuel than we thought. Who's behind us? I'm trying to think about spacings now. Mikael. Speed up to Mach 80, I think. And that'll allow Mikhail to speed up to Mach 80, pull away from Neil, and then Neil will have a couple more minutes. Because you don't want to be too close. Everybody wants, effectively, 4 minutes, roughly, separation for this, rather than 2. Jurassic, hello! Neil, nothing, because we can only tune VOR1 or ADF1. We're going to use ADF1 for the NDB for that final bit. So up here, once we've tuned the ADF, 326 down there in the active box, when we come to track it later on into the descent, we'll turn that down, we'll click it down into ADF1's position. And then for VOR2, we'll click that up to VOR2. And then the 008 there is more of just a reference for us to help remind ourselves what we need to turn on to on our final approach. Oh, Jurassic, that's not good. But that means you have flight sim time. Nice headwind as well. Push it was predominantly a little bit of a crosswind as well, but 45 knots. TCAS has just come online. Interesting. For an aeroplane that's right behind us. Should be off our wingtip. This one? Who is that? Being overtaken, folks, by Emirates 126 off to Dubai. Howdy. He's literally just gone offset track left by about 2 miles. Either that or he's hit the waypoint and he's off on an offset. Dan, no, they haven't. Let's see if we can catch him in a screenshot before he goes too far away. How you feeling, Jurassic? Hopefully you're okay. Got contrails behind us as well there. Oh, he's too far out. Robbie, hello, 01. Top of descent there, just coming into view in 240 miles. I was close, 287. We could do our forecast with the winds. And we'll leave the transition at flight level 60. And the current QNH 1018 for Skiathos. That'll do. And our minimums, we might as well tune this because it can take a while. We'll do 1600. We're starting at 200, look, so it can take a while. We'll press and hold shift, then wind this up all the way up to 1600. Then I'm actually going to add, yeah, 1600. That'll do. There we are. That's set. Takes a little while. That's why I tend to do that sort of change early. How fast are we all going? I feel like I need to actually get more separation from you guys, because I feel like you've got very, very close all of a sudden. Oh my god. Stand by. The heck? Well, there's a keybind I didn't know I had. Almost broke the plane. The heck? What was that keybind? Absolutely no idea. Oh well. We didn't break it. Nope. Gonna check cabin pressure as well. Good. We can set our landing elevation as well. Runway 9 feet, airport elevation 50. So I'll just set 50. Neil, good grief. Yeah, definitely slow down, Neil, because you're closing in on Mikhail, and you need about 4 minutes separation between each of us to fly this procedure, because we'll all end up, we need to backtrack effectively, and that's going to take another 2 minutes. What we should probably do at Raksad I'd probably start a bit of a timer to work out how long it takes. Just remember, if you get too close though to Mikhail, you'll end up having to go around. That's pretty much guaranteed for this. If you're too close. Although then we're going to be over Greek airspace, it might be a little bit too late. But it might have to be a bit of creative, might have to do a bit of creative vectoring, or you might have to enter the hold if we're all a little bit too bunched up. At Raksad, what you want to do is probably set a timer for 4 minutes based on who you are behind. So when they get to Raksad, they put in the live chat that you're at Raksad. The person behind can then start a clock. Perhaps that's an idea. And then you can go from there to time maybe 4 minutes, and if you're noticing you're closing in quicker, then I'll probably do bits with the speed a little bit to try and get it all nicely spaced. Or, as MPS Gaming is saying, enter the hold. That's another option. Neil, yeah, no worries. As long as you think you've got the separation for it, then that's all good. You just got to bear in mind at Skiathos, when everybody touches down, they're all going to have to backtrack, and there's no turning point on the runway except for the very end at the other end. So you have to go all the way to the end, and then turn around and taxi back. And the exit point of the runway is right at the very start of the runway for 01. So you then have to taxi 2,000 meters down a runway to vacate. 1,600 meters down the runway roughly. MPS Gaming, nice, blasted ahead. I don't know who I'm close to, but I've got somebody really close. Awesome, Neil. That works. Well, at least it should do in theory. We'll find out when it comes to the approach if it works. MPS Gaming, I'm thinking the same thing. I might do flat 40 as well, but depends on the speed difference actually, if there's anything to gain from it. It should in theory be a flat 40 approach. Absolutely, max auto brake MPS Gaming. Max auto brake, full reverse thrust 100%. And yeah, if you haven't, that's a good point Matthew as well, raises there. If you've not already got that folks, in your PMDG settings, go to menu, PMDG setup, aircraft, equipment, and then go to page 13, and you need to make sure that you've got the short field package set to yes. And ideally you've got carbon brakes as well, because otherwise you're going to get brake degradation potentially as well with this particular arrival, because it's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of demand on the brakes for this touchdown. Max auto brake. Performance improvement package is one that I've got included on yes as well. Indeed, Grisson. Oh, there you go, you just put it in the live chat as well. Oh, at least I remembered it. So the short field package does a couple of things. One of the features is it actually allows the speed brakes on the wings to deflect even higher to create more drag and more assistance for slowing the aeroplane down on touchdown. It seals the flaps, allows the flaps to retract differently. I think it seals them to create more lift and drag on the lift drag curve. Can't remember exactly all the other things that it does, but yeah, Neil's going to be doing flat 40 landing. Here's a question then for you guys that fly the PMDG 737. How many of you recently have been doing flat 40 touchdowns? Or have they all been flat 30? I tend to just stick with flat 30 a lot of the time and find that the 2 knots difference or so isn't worth it. It'd be interesting to know how many of you like to use flat 40 for arrivals. Neil, you do have slats for the short field package, but they are sealed. So they actually, there is no gap between them, the way that they've been redesigned effectively. Matthew does flap 40 a lot, Badger does mainly flap 30 like me, as Highflyer does the same. Neil always uses flap 40, Hayden's a flap 30 pilot. Adam goes for flap 40 as well. Barris uses 30, unless it's a short runway like today, then flap 40. David uses flap 30 the whole time, like myself, but uses max brakes on occasion. Christopher, yeah, sadly I'm working, so I can't take part in that, which is really disappointing. Dan says he did his first ever flap 40 landing the other day on a very steep final approach into San Diego due to ATC vectors. Nice. Fritz says using flap 40 gives you the feeling that you're going to fall out of the air. Poseidon uses flap 40 all the time as well. Lots of you use flap 40 quite nicely then. Flap 30 10, yeah, that's kind of from PMDG as well. Flap 30 is the main one that everybody uses. And a lot of airlines actually block out flap 40 as an option. So the pilots can't select flap 40. Some airlines have flap 40 on their 737s, but not all airlines will sort of do it. Interesting. Just reading something from last year. If you can see a couple of hundred feet between stopping distance and landing distance, even if max auto brake is required, then flaps 30 can still be used. But if you cannot land safely with flap 30, you rerun the calculations with flap 40 and see if it's safe with forecast runway surface conditions and wind. Ultimately, it's the captain's decision, but the standard is flap 30 unless there are specific reasons why the additional wear on the airframe justifies the use of flap 40. Flap 40 does not give a higher deceleration rate of any significance, but it does give you a lower ground speed at VREF. It also increases the noise footprint of the approaching aircraft, gives you less nose-up pitch on the glide path, and a slightly longer distance from the threshold to touchdown without flare, which is interesting. So it actually means that using flap 30 might get us on the touchdown zone quicker, or more accurately, without sort of flare and all the rest of it. And again, the other thing you've got to consider is the brake cooling time too. So using flap 40, you're usually likely to plummet to the ground the moment you pull the power off. So two advantages of flap 40 over 30, less brake cooling and less chance of floating. But then you've got to think if you're going to declare a go around, flap 40 could actually be problematic initially for that initial go around action. Don, hello. Wowzers, that doesn't sound good. Saying he's got a bit of a lottery with his reverse thrust with his Airbus TCA. Destiny's got full ATC in the States. Very nice. Quite early as well for them. MPS is on descent. 737 is a completely different beast to the A320 when it comes to the flare. Some good videos on the web explaining why joke Ryanair landing is actually a real 737 thing. I'm just going to rerun some of the landing figures here because it does say that we're going to be overweight for the arrival. Flat 40, planned maximum landing weight 51,549. Just going to put this in and just see what it gives us. So it's telling us flap 30, auto brake max gives us a stopping 542 meters left. Flaps 40 will give us 609 meters, but we still require auto brake max. So there's only 50 meters of difference, but both will still stop us nicely. And there's an estimation of 128, a 5 knots difference in speed. Landing before what? Make any sense? I know VAS Airplane Toolbox isn't being very helpful at all, to be totally honest. Is there a fuel dump option in the PMDG? Can the 737 fuel dump? I'm not sure if it can. I don't remember seeing an option for fuel dump. In short, no, it can't. Looking around the flight deck. We're just going to have to land heavy. That's ultimately what's going to happen here. Planned landing weight. In fact, let's have a look, see what our speeds here in comparison are. So 61.8. Let's see what it gives us. In fact, we'll go worst case scenario. We'll go 62. There you go. That's quite a difference in speed. 144 knots over 137. John, make sure you arm the spoilers. If you forget like you did last night at Kos, it was touching cloth but just about stopped at the end. Holy moly. Transport Gamer, I think that's a lower range sort of spec. So you're going to have to run about low to medium on the settings, I reckon. Barris, by comparison, has got 32 gig of RAM, so I think you'll probably find that your 500 gig hard drive Transport Gamer will fill up really, really, really quickly as well. Bearing in mind MSFS now, with the city updates, the world updates, and the sim, you're probably touching about 200 gigabytes just for that alone. Neil, I could do, but I won't worry. Mark, yes, that's pretty much the only way of doing it properly. As you're saying there, you'd have to just enter the hold and fly the hold to burn off extra fuel. Rich, yes, you've got to arm the spoilers, part of your approach checklist. Trying to research what approach speeds are suitable for the 737-800 into Skiathos with weights and things like that. But nothing really comes up. Paris, no. Yeah, in fact, yes it is, sorry, yes, Maced is top of descent for me. Yeah, that hit the news, didn't it? Fuel dump over a school in Los Angeles. I remember that being all over the news in the UK as well. Richie, going well, thank you. The smell of Jet A1's great, John, but not so much the taste. Little snow-capped peak there, and then we're turning up towards the coast. Thessaloniki is coming up in about, what, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? There it is, 80 nautical miles, 100 nautical miles away, Thessaloniki. Top of descent in less than 80 now. Miguel's approximately 5 minutes behind. Awesome, that's really good. That's pretty much bang on then, isn't it? Mark, very busy as always. Incredibly tiring. They get harder the more I do. Adam, you just have to load the actual state inside the FMS. That's all you got to do. Just click a couple of buttons in there, and it will go into cold and dark mode. William, hello to you. Personally, I purchased it from the Microsoft Store. I don't use Steam myself. Hey Shadowbox, if you were just going to purchase one, I'd probably recommend getting the 800. Longer, heavier, a bit more tricky, but if you want a very cheap, incredibly great value option, which is quite sporty as well, I'd go for the 737-600, but then you're limited by range, that sort of thing. But as Faris is saying there, the 600 and the 800 are a perfect pairing because they're great for lots of different situations. The 600, you could go blasting around shorter airfields, smaller airfields in Canada, for example. The 600 is incredible. Really, really nice, Andy. For the price, it's insane how much value you get from it. Really remarkable. 40 miles to go. Let's prep for top of descent. We'll run the METAR 360 at 8, QNH 1018. Make sure that's set. QNH 1018, that's all set. Forecasts and everything's done. We've got the legs page all complete as well with the missed approach via Skopilos, holding at Skopilos at 4,000. And what are we at? 62.9 tonnes of fuel. I'm going to estimate 62. We're just going to put that in for now, but we'll monitor it as we go. We'll select a more appropriate figure just prior to that. And we're going to go all the way down to 4,000 for Skopilos. So we haven't put a start in for this, we're just going Thessaloniki, and then we're going Lekpo Amsiv of Egisa, and then into Skopilos, but it effectively follows the same path as what we can see on the Navigraph screen here. Thessaloniki, and then 67 miles down towards Skopilos, and that gives us time to descend all the way down to 4,000 feet when we hit top of descent in a minute. And we're going to activate VOR 2, which is tuned into Skopilos 1134. And we're going to activate ADF1 now, which is the Skiathos NDB 326. When we get to Skopilos, we're going to be on the top end of heavy for this approach, to be honest, but we'll see how it goes. We're going to then fly outbound 203 degrees away from Skopilos over the water, descending down from 4,000 over the VOR, descending down to 2,000 following this little profile here. So Skopilos at 4,000, and then at 3 DME beginning a descent down to 2,000 feet for 10 DME. At 10 DME from the Skopilos VOR, we will be at 2,000 feet, slow down to about 180 knots, probably a little bit slower, and then we're going to be turning right 008 degrees to head inbound to Foxtrot Quebec 01. At that point, auto throttle goes off, autopilot goes off, and we will manually fly the remainder of the approach in tracking that Skiathos NDB 326 on the ADF, but we'll be flying it visually effectively. If we go around, declare a missed approach, we're going to head runway heading 008 degrees, climbing to 2,500 feet, then making a climbing right turn, max 185 knots to Skopilos VOR, climb to 4,000 feet and join the hold there. That is it. As a reminder as well, landing runway 01, we're going to most likely go past Alpha 1, so we're going to have to go right down to the end and then backtrack runway 01 all the way from the bottom to vacate at Alpha 1 onto the stands. And this is the first time flying this approach in the 737-800. So let's change the altitude box in the MCP down to 4. And just before we hit top of descent, I'm going to go back onto speed intervention mode, allow the aeroplane to go back into its own speed settings in the VNAV. Alpha Bravo, hello. What airport is it? Alpha Bravo from a third party developer. Who is it? Because the PMDG is fine, but it might be an issue in the software with the add-on airport or something like that, or something else in the sim that's clashing with it perhaps. We need a bit more information from you there. Checklist for descent. So we've done the destination weather, we've set our arrival data, the landing altitude up here is set at 50 feet. Radios are set, 1228, we've got VOR2, let's activate that, and ADF1, let's activate that. Wing engine anti-ice is not required, we're going to go to that for a little warning recall just before we start our descent, and we've got the MCP set to 4,000 as well for our descent with VNAV active as well as RNAV. That's going to help us begin our descent. Minimums are set, 1,600 feet. Approach and missed approach set and briefed, and auto brake set to max. Altimeters pre-tuned to 1018 when we get below transition, and there we go, we're ready for our descent. And the wonderful Thessaloniki down there, just on the left. Boarding time, both. Neil, are you all set up? There we go, retard and descent. You'll be fine, Neil. It's actually simpler than it looks, to be honest. The last bit of it, you're manually flying yourself. It's a visual approach. So, easy peasy, that bit. All you've got to do is get a Skopilos and then fly outbound, which is what we're going to do a couple of minutes ahead of you. So you're going to see it on the stream and then you're going to repeat it. It's like a live tutorial, it's great. So, in fact, Neil, as well, if this helps, we are on the VNAV path quite nicely, so let's just go here. We're going to go to plan mode, just for a moment. So as we saw on the charts a minute ago, Neil, there's our fixed rings that we've put in. And we've got the magenta line there. heading out from Skopilos, and then a right turn to Foxtrot Quebec 01 before flying into the airport. So if you've got it set, you can just leave LNAV on until you're going to turn the autopilot off, which is what we're going to do. Keep it easy. But just remember, at Skopilos, you're going to want to set, so 4,000 feet at Skopilos, Neil, and then just as you get to 4,000 feet, change the altitude to 1,600 feet. And as you pass Skopilos, you should then continue the descent down. If not, go to vertical speed mode and go to 800 foot per minute roughly, 1,000 foot per minute to get down to 1,600 feet. I've just explained all that and he's not been here. Good luck to you. Yeah, I mean, there's another reassuring comment there. P.S. If you crash, no one will die. 4,000 as you cross Skopilos, Neil. Descend then to 2,000 feet by 10 DME, but then continue to descend to 1,600 feet, which is your minimums, as you're then turning right to go back towards the airport. And on that turn, you're going to already be wanting to be below 180 knots, so you're going to have flaps out. If you need to go slower, that means you need flaps 15. Go gear down flap 15. Same rules as any approach in the 737. (1,600 feet, wings level, flying towards the airport, Foxtrot Quebec 01, and then turn the auto thrust off, the autopilot off, and then hand fly the rest in. Visual approach. All of the first bit is doing is allowing us to get the right altitude and in the right place to then hand fly the rest of it ourselves. But the more I talk about it, the more I risk overcomplicating it, so one thing I want to check here, I'm going to change Skopilos 4,000 alpha / 4,000 bingo. So I'm telling the aircraft I want to be at 4,000 feet at that point. Bamos at 240. Andy, nice. I won't fiddle around with it too much. Just gonna have to make some dynamic changes when we need to neaten things up. Thessaloniki down below, can't see it though. We're overhead. Let's see if we can catch it from above. NXI Thessaloniki, very nice. There's some great scenery, freeware scenery available for it too. There it is. Cracking livery. 737 LBU is the PMDG 737. Unfortunately, the 737 MAX is made by a company called Record, and they are crap. so unfortunately, you've purchased something that is just hideously awful. But you want to buy the PMDG 737. Gonna need drag, I think. Notice how the VNAV's just changed wildly to tell us that we're well over where we're supposed to be. Skiathos traffic, Osprey 165's overhead Thessaloniki, descending flight level 223 for flight level, correction, 4,000 feet by Skopelos, expecting the NDB approach runway 01. Skiathos traffic. It begins. Andy, so the 777 is in progress now, as we speak. But obviously they've got the 737-900 to come out next, which is going to be really cool. Really cool. They're going to be tail strikes left, right and centre with that, tell you. So that's going next, and then the 777 will release at some point after that. So hopefully, I mean, it'd be great if it comes by December, but it might be, say, middle of next year, and then the 747 will be after that, who knows. We'll just have to go by whatever they say on their forums. We are back on the VNAV path. Happy days. Good luck to Neil flying this for the first time into Skiathos. I'm sure you're going to be absolutely fine. I think, J-Bay, I'm probably on track with your thought process there. Skopelos. Let's get spoilers away, because we're fighting the aircraft here. Lolo, check out my channel's playlists for the 737. There is an ILS tutorial for you. Watch it, follow it, and you'll be absolutely fine. Okay, now we're going through 17,000. Let's have a quick look, check of the cabin pressure, and it's depressurizing nicely there. And I'm going to be proactive in getting the seatbelt signs on now. Why not? Andy, sadly no controllers today from Unicom. MPS Gaming's down, good effort. What was the touchdown rating for you, MPS Gaming? What was your G and things like that, if you've got it? Keep an eye on the VNAV as we pass different waypoints just to see what it's asking us to do, if we're still on profile or if we need to assist the aeroplane with a bit of speed brake, flight to 10. Nav courses are set, so the first one's going to be Nav 2. is going to be nav 1. Bring the range in. No glide slope this. The aeroplane, by the way, folks, might give us a fake ILS. It might give us a sort of direction anyway to assist with our approach. We'll find out when we get there. I think it did last time. One of the great features of the aeroplane. Good effort, MPS Gaming, very good. It's interestingly now it's saying that we're above the profile, which is interesting. Agisa, flight level 120, possible, but then Bamos 5665. Trust in the VNAV. Bamos 28, Skopilos 7. There's a decel point there. Bit more concentration required for these sort of approaches, guys, which is why I've gone a little bit quieter than usual. Letting VNAV do the whole thing here. I'll do a terrain inhibit. This as well, in case we do get a gear like a terrain pull-up warning. Q, hello, saying, does it make much terms of difference of interaction and control when flying Boeing aircraft if you use the honeycomb as opposed to the Thrustmaster TCA? So I don't have either. I had a Thrustmaster HOTAS X to begin with, and I've then upgraded that vastly to the Turtle Beach Velocity 1 yoke and throttle, and that is an epic bit of hardware. It works really, really well with the 737. A bit of spoilers again. Because we passed a Gisa, it's then said, by the way, you're above the profile again. So I'm just going to get flight detent out, use a bit of speed brake to assist the aeroplane. Watch that little VNAV needle come back up, and I'll preempt it by closing the speed brake. There we are. Nice. Skopilos in 30 miles. Airbus, yes you do. I think I'm going to go for flap 30 with this, guys. Landing lights on. 10 minutes to landing. Blue needle's just active now. There, that's our ADF to Skiathos, SKC. Trying to track the NDB there. As we get a bit closer, there we go, now it's set. Bingo. that range ring in a bit more to 20. 5,000 feet to go. Just going to go to local pressure now because we're going to go through transition in about 2 minutes. 2 islands, right hand side Skiathos, you can see the little runway cutting through the land there, and then Skiathos, which is where we're heading into first. A little bit of low cloud there around the sea. Good grief, it's so long. So first fixed ring, 10 miles, that big wide arc, that's the 10-mile fixed ring around Skiathos. And then the little one there is a 5-mile fixed ring around Skiathos, and that's going to be relevant to our wings level at Foxtrot 01 at 1,600 feet. We're going to also, the RSI here, flick this across, and that's going to track ADF1, and then we're going to keep the second one on VOR2. I see Mike, hello, thank you very much. I can't remember if I said hello to you earlier on, actually. I did see you in the live chat, apologies if not. Juliet, Charlie Mike, just there, that little sort of cross there. I'm going to select 209. But I'm also now going to go to vertical speed mode, and I'm going to keep us descending at about 1,000 foot per minute roughly. So I want to be at Skiathos at 4,000, but also I want to decelerate. And actually, I'm going to set 200 knots. So effectively, the speed's just going to trickle down towards that up marker there. And then we can start deploying flaps. I mean, we could do flaps now, to be honest, and that will start to increase drag and things on the airframe. Skiathos at 4,000, we want to be 1,600. Okay, we'll do 210, that's my OCD kicking in. And then we'll bring this range ring down to 10. Wowzers, 150 knots for approach. This is going to be sporty. Thousand above. Then we want to go down to 2,000. Skiathos traffic, Osprey 165 is passing Skopilos 4,000 feet for 2,000 feet and inbound on the NDB Lock Centre runway 01 approach. Will report turning final. Skiathos traffic. Lap 5. .180 knots. Brake armed. Speed's coming down. Flaps are green at 5. Light signs as required. They're looking good. I'm actually going to put the thingy onto dim there just to give us a bit more background lighting as we fly in here. Speed's still washing off nicely, as is the altitude. I'm going to bring this to 800 now. 800 feet per minute. I'm going to go flat 10. Go. Inbound Skiathos, folks. Can't wait. Been a little while since we've been here, isn't it? So we can't go anywhere further beyond flat 10 until we have gear extended, but now I'm going to go...
Chanix, 6 Traffers pushing back and starting from stand.
Engine starts to continuous.
Skyways,
On with ding ding. Quick check of that, it's going to get really busy, so I'm going to do another master caution check now instead of as we're turning final, because otherwise our workload's going to be way too high. And I'm going to get my feet set up on the rudder pedals nicely as well. So I've got all my hands and feet and things ready on the controls. 180 is good, pitch is looking quite nice. 2500, that is checked. Minimums are set. 1600, QNH is good as well at 1018, and our speeds, reference speeds are complete. Water brake is set on max. We're going to get harsh deceleration with this. It's not going to be comfy if you're sat in the back. It's also on us to control the aeroplane as well in these sort of final stages. What do you reckon then, folks? Touchdown ratings time. Altitude hold just before 10 DME. Down to 1600. Just going to do 250 foot per minute. I'm actually going to slow the aeroplane to about 170. At this point, we're going to wait for wings level, and then I'm going to set, let's go 008, I'm going to set gear down and flap 15 at that point. Skiathos traffic, Osprey 165, turning final, runway 01. I'm going to set 002 for now actually, just in case I want to make some little corrections for myself. Okay, that'll do. Gear down. Flap 15. Do 160. Flap 25.
Approaching minimums.
Right, let's get it set up now. Flap 30, just before we hit FQ01. Set 008 ready. We'll level at 1600. Altitude acquired, let's reset to 4.
Osprey. Skiathos traffic, Osprey 131 Golf,
150.
approaching Skiathos.
Minimums are ready, and we're going to go auto throttle off, autopilot off, clear the bells and whistles, flaps are set, gears down green, bringing our speed down to 150. A little change of power gives us a change in pitch. So here we go. Just going to recycle the flight directors.
Skiathos traffic, Janix 6 Ruffers taxiing on Alpha and holding Alpha 2 for arrival of Osprey 165.
Yeah, buddy. There we go. Speed's good, altitude's looking good. I'm going to turn onto the centre line a little bit more. I'm just relying on a bit of depth perception and looking where that threshold's going to be for our touchdown reference here on our profile. I'm trying to get it right from there. It's just a visual approach. Orbeck Skiathos is late to load in. A little late than Nether, I guess.
400.
That's going to be very tight traffic behind, yes. Can't do anything about that though.
300.
Little ship in the way.
200. 100.
Looking to the end.
50.
Whoa.
30.
Bit
20.
keen on the flare.
10.
Reverse, green. Down on the nose wheel and pushing forwards a little bit on the stick. Oh my god. Okay, well that's failed on auto brake, so we will just use a bit more reverse thrust.
Traffic, Osprey 459 on turning, final, 001.
And now it's on us to try and backtrack quickly enough. I don't want them to go around. Skiathos traffic, Osprey 165 is backtrack 01, report vacated. Flaps off, spoilers disarmed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Skiathos. What is going to be a very quick vacate, bear with me. Going to fire up the APU while we're here. Ignition modes to off, probes off. You can see the lights. Oh my god, there's two on final. There's whoever's number 3 is way too close. That's Skiathos traffic, Osprey 165's vacated Alpha 1. Might as well go here at 4. Runway turn off, lights off, landing lights off, strobe and steady to steady.
Skiathos traffic, Osprey 459 on a 5 miles final. I don't know who caught in front of me, but
Just
someone
gonna hold here.
taking a shortcut. Yep, Osprey 131 Golf Skiathos traffic, that was me turning at the wrong point. I'm going to go around. Roger.
You need to start the engines to request ground services.
Brilliant. So we're not going to get a marshaller at this one.
You need to start the engines to request ground services.
Skiathos traffic, Chanix 6 Alpha's waiting for backtracking.
It's annoying.
I will await for Osprey 459 to land and then I will enter the active.
So you have to guess.
And roger that for Osprey 459. Thank you.
There we go. Part brake on. APU is ready. Anti-collision lights off. I'm going to reset the view here because we want to spot some landings. Here we go. I won't do deboarding just yet.
Skiathos traffic, Osprey 99015, we are passing 6,900 feet inbound for Cockpit.
MPS Gaming, thank you, buddy.
Skiathos traffic, Osprey 9015, descending to 4,000 feet, 6,500, currently 10 nautical miles to Cockpit.
Osprey 459, it looks like you're coming straight in behind the other one, so I will await for you too.
Very nice that Chanix spoke. Oh, look at that. Fantastic. Oh, I couldn't get that screenshot quick enough.
5,900 feet, traffic.
Oh my god.
1 o'clock.
Oh my god. That is a skrrr moment, isn't it? Wow. Nicely stopped. Holy moly. That was intense, wasn't it? We've got another one inbound there now, and also the Jet 2 to watch to part 2, being very patient there. If you're watching, thank you very much, really appreciate it.
Skiathos traffic, is there anybody on final now?
Skiathos traffic, Osprey 9015, we are about to pass Cockpit right now, and we are about maybe 15 nautical miles to final.
Roger, thank you. Chanix 6 Alpha's backtracking 01.
Roger, you have a time to take off Chanix for Bethit, yeah.
Osprey 459 backtracking, and we will go for the Alpha 1. We'll be off the runway shortly.
Off he goes.
Thanks very much.
And thanks for waiting.
No problem.
And the traffic, Osprey 459 on runway 01, exactly, that's Alpha 1, and we will taxi to the parking.
There's the windsock. Nice little headwind to assist us today. Thanks, Jurassic. Sorting out the basher. I reckon for his departure we take beach view. Like some night. No, it's our channel airline, if you like. Created it for the channel community to enjoy. Jet surfing, hell yeah.
Skiathos traffic, Chanix 6 to after departing 01 and clearing to the east.
Hold on a second, did No, you didn't disconnect, did you? I think you did.
Skiathos traffic, Osprey 9015, turning right for runway Demi 01.
One thing that's really nice with this Orbex scenery is you get the whole sort of village modelled in down below. We've covered it before, but it just looks spectacular, doesn't it? Oh, he did, but he's reconnected, Neil. Okay, good stuff, good stuff. You should have just stayed connected, it was fine. What do we reckon? Do we go to that little beach view here with the spotters and have the touchdown?
Osprey 1171's over Bamos, descending out of a 6,000 for the arrival.
I don't think we can turn quick enough, but we'll find out. Got one inbound there, centre of the screen. Great place for a boat, J-Bay, yeah. I'd love to go into Skiathos. I'd love to go to Mykonos as well, just for the approach, but Mykonos holidays aren't particularly my cup of tea, I don't think.
55 nautical miles, final for runway 01.
Who else have we got? So we've got Barris on final. Neil is turning. And I can see Mike as well. 6,000 feet. It was at 10,000 feet apparently, up here somewhere. Really good, Mikhail. That's very, very nice.
Skiathos traffic, Osprey 1171's over Scapulos 4,000, descending via the arrival runway 1, Skiathos.
Badger, good work. Here we go. Yeah, it's a little bit Jurassic. Cocolado, we've still got 2 left.
Short final.
After this, we've still
2
got 2
nautical miles.
to watch, so it depends how long you're going to be. Neil's up here somewhere as well. He's got to get down once these 2 are in. Ooh, right on the threshold. Obviously no engine sounds because it's sharing it with our PMDG, which has obviously got engines off at the moment. Oh, he's vacated as well, look at that. How on earth did you get that stopped in time? I do not know. Pretty epic.
Skiathos traffic, Osprey 905 vacated, runway 01.
So we've got Mike coming in now. I think Neil's flying a 360 around the island a little bit. Cocolada's on the way in as well, from Cluj-Napoca. Definitely pronounced that wrong. Oh dear. Neil's up here somewhere, flying near the sun. He's on the way. How are we doing over there?
Traffic, Osprey 1171's turning in the arc, 10 DME arc for Skiathos.
I wish those statics weren't there. I can see Mike now coming in, making the turn. Just off in the distance, tiny little speck of lights. I just saw some memes in our Discord server. Posted in our flight sim on Reddit. Oh dear. Oh Neil, try it offline, try it offline. Just give it a go. You've got to try these things to learn them. Don't give up too easy. Mikhail, no, it's great for you to join us. Where'd he go? Got 2 left then. Mike on final. Cocolada in the MD-80. I reckon for this one.
Skiathos traffic, Osprey 1171's on 2 mile final, Skiathos.
To the touchdown zone. There. 350 Faris isn't bad. What's the G? That's more important. Rid of that. Very good indeed, vacating now for 1 in the 800. Good grief. Don't know how you manage that. Strong effort. G is pretty good, Faris. Neil, reset to Skopilos, 4,000. And then just followed the charts. Down to 2,000 feet, 10 DME, turn right 001 degrees. And then jobs are good in. It's a floater. And a go around. Gotta be. Oh my god. He's committed. Oh, he just wanted the touch and go practice. That looked epic. MPS Gaming says weird. Moved the camera then crashed to desktop. Very odd. So a go around's nice and simple here. If you've got no one else in the pattern, you could just go to Skopilos. Start again.
Skiathos traffic, road chapter 128 10 miles from runway 01.
Yeah, I wanted Vilnius. I don't want a repeat of that ever again. That was madness. Absolute madness. Okalada's next. It was good. You could see the decision making there of like, nope, I need to go around. I need to go around now. Jurassic, no worries, buddy. Good to see you tune in. Hope you're well. While we're talking about this Orbex stuff, I'm just going to load up Orbex Central and try and find the verify settings thing. Oh yeah, now I've got configure available in Skiathos. That's annoying. I could have disabled statics.
Skiathos traffic, Euro 1 take on final, runway 01.
He's now in the cloud. Oh, there he is. This is an MD-82. Here comes the mad dog. We need more suspenseful music, really. Possibly MPS Gaming.
Keep it steady, Coco.
God, look at that. Here she comes. down. Oh, is he? Yeah, he is. That's just Vats him floating him. Yeah, he's down. That looked cracking. He's doing a cheeky mid-runway backtrack as well. So who else have we got left? I can see Neil on the way in. And I can see Mike at Skopulos again. He did. Oh dear. Call the fire brigade, he's blocked the runway. He's done it, nice work. Here comes Neil. He's high, but he's recoverable. Just.
Skiathos traffic, you were set to 1 to Echo, runway V8.
Yeah, land it, Neil. You've got this. Matthew saying the thing is, as long as the runway is wide. You're not wrong there, are you? Here we go, Neil. That looked good. That looks good. That looks good. He's got this. Ah, good effort. That looks great. I think this is Neil's first landing on stream. Ah, bang on.
Brake.
It's going again. Hard on the brakes, Neil. You've got this. Nice job.
I think new one response needed from me and the entire crew, but we're down.
Great effort. You just got to vacate now, Neil, because you've got someone else on final. Yeah, it was Richie. Yeah, the Wizz Air A321 that flew into here almost smashed through the fence.
Great effort.
Be advised, baby Boeing is down. Baby Boeing is down.
Here he comes. Great effort. That's Neil's first ever landing on stream. Really, really good effort there. And props to sticking with it as well. You've got to try these things, and you gave it a good go. Excellent job.
Professional Osprey 131 Golf backtracking off a runway.
ADC Swede, yeah, good to know. He's a cracking aeroplane. I always like to try and watch people landing in after us on our little convoy. How are we doing here? Not bad. Start the deboarding process in a minute as well. Disembarkation with GSX. We got one on final. The last one in. Mike's done a go around. Oops.
Skiathos traffic, Osprey 131 Golf, vacated runway.
We're going to do request.
Osprey 1171, 5 mile final, Skiathos.
We'll do request deboarding when he's about 1 mile, 2 mile final. Otherwise his doors and cargo hold will start to open as well. Should be about now. If not, his doors will be open, because it copies the same model with model matching using the PMDG 737 model for this with our Osprey livery. We want request deboarding with GSX. Is it going to give us an option?
Boarding requested.
Handling by service air? No. Neil says, who wants to guess my landing rate? Bear in mind I heard screams from the back. I'm going to say 900 foot per minute, 1.8 G. And for which touchdown? Which touchdown? The first or the second? A jest of course. GSX hard at work. 456 nil, decent.
Passengers bus is coming.
Looks like he's flying a slight crosswind here. Oops. Wow, quite the crosswind. Banging touchdown, look at that. Out he goes. One wheel. He's down, last pilot. And he's vacated Alpha 1 as well, top job. There's Neil parked up in the middle. GSX on these little stands here, by the way, folks, with the profile on flightsim.to gives you passengers walking over the apron and heading into the terminal, which is quite smart. But we are over here. There we are, our first inaugural flight in the Osprey 737-800. Cracking livery. Passengers are going to deboard now. Disembark, as I like to say rather. Here we go, the world's creepiest people. Decimo, really good, thank you. GSX working well at the end as well and at the start. There's everybody's parking up now. Mike's just head in. Got a couple of statics in the way, but nevertheless, we should be able to head up and away and get a screen grab. Going for between TUI and the Jet 2, nice. David, yeah, how far this game has come in 2 years is remarkable, isn't it? There were so many doubters at the start, so many times we've had our patience tested where we thought, you know what, can't deal with this anymore, this is just too problematic. Now look at it. Epic. And we're getting all these extra little nods to realism, like GSX and all the rest of it, which are just enhancing the experience vastly. There we go. Almost a full plane dock, yeah. Inaugural service. Sold out. there we are. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for flying along. Those of you who have, those of you who hit subscribe today, thank you very much as well. And everybody who's hit the like button so far, almost 100 likes. So thank you very much again, as always. Nothing from me over the weekend. Going to be working, sadly, quite extended long shift. So start of next week, we're going to be thinking, getting our heads together, planning another route there as well. So keep your eyes peeled over in Discord, and we will come up with another route in the near future. Richie, head to britishafgeek.com/Osprey-Airways, and all the details are there. If you've not done so already, hit subscribe, everybody. Give us a like, and if you're watching this post-stream, share your thoughts in the comments below as well. All the links are in the description, and I'm going to turn off statics on the Orbex package for this as well next time. We might have to do a departure from Skiathos in the near future as well. Enjoy the weekend ahead. Thank you to everybody who flew along, and well done to Neil, landing for the first time on stream as well in his 737-600. Stuck with it, made it work, and it looked pretty good in the end.
Passengers, the boarding starting.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you soon. Take care.